Hello, my name is Modern and today I'm going to take a look at the itemization of Diablo 4, which combines elements from Diablo 3 and 2 and also mixes in some RPG stuff like gathering and upgrading your gear. I will go over gear, gems, mount equipment, gathering, crafting and finish up with Transmog at the very end. First, a bit of basic info. Diablo 4 will feature personal loot, which means everything will be individually generated for each player. We will also get restricted trading, but there is no info about the extent of this. All loot drop chances will be adjusted based on the monster family you're currently farming, meaning bandits will have a higher chance to drop certain items like maces, crossbows and boots. The druid, necromancer and sorceress will only be able to equip 10 items, with barbarians having the ability to carry 12 and rogues 11. Now before we move on, make sure to sub, like and comment for some more Diablo 4 juice. Now items can drop in different qualities with a variety of different affixes like additional strength, attack speed, damage, cooldown reduction or even plus levels to skill. This can even unlock skills you have not met yet the requirements for. There will be 7 accessible rarities at the launch of the game, starting with common, magic, rare, legendary, sacred legendary, ancestral legendary and unique. Set items will not be in the game at launch and are planned to be implemented later down the line. The first 3 rarities are pretty basic and what you would expect from an ARPG. Legendaries and uniques are a bit different. Let's have a look at legendaries first. As mentioned before, they come in 3 tiers: legendary, sacred legendary and ancestral legendary, but they're basically the same thing, just with better stats. Sacred versions start to drop at world tier 3 and ancestral ones at world tier 5. Regular affixes like increased damage will have a higher ceiling, meaning they can roll between 10 and 20% for example, instead of 10 to 12. And legendaries will always come with a legendary affix that modifies gameplay. Most will be generic legendary powers, but there will also be class specific ones. For example, Meteor gaining additional crit chance against vulnerable targets, or increased damage when standing in your own AoEs. There are also plans to provide players with extremely rare legendaries that make class skills available to be used by other classes. But there is sadly no example of this, as well as no further details on how to obtain those. Next are uniques, which come with completely fixed affixes and feature heavily thematic effects. Those are usually class specific powers. Some of those uniques are restricted to only be wielded by a certain class. Now some of the examples shown here are featuring sockets for gems. Sockets can either be rolled on an item or added by using a scattered prism, which drops from world bosses. Gems come in multiple colors and tiers and their effects vary based on the slot you slap it in. Ruby gems, for example, come with plus 6 resource generation in the weapon slot and plus 5 life in the armor slot. The better quality ones have plus 7 or plus 6% modifiers. Now when we compare skull gems to this, they come with plus 6 health on kill on the weapon slot. Something I already mentioned in my other video, Paragon boards come with sockets for glyphs, which can be found as drops and further improved through crafting. They influence the tiles you spend Paragon points on, for example by increasing the effect of adjacent tiles. And the last itemization thing I want to mention before I move on to crafting is mount equipment. It's something you can throw on your trusty steed to increase its speed or to change its appearance, for example through trophies. Nothing major, but the world is huge and speed is more speed. So Diablo 4 has crafting, as do many other ARPGs on the market. But what is different is the addition of gathering materials. Those can be plants, skins, ores or monster parts found throughout the world. All harvestable materials will be automatically picked up and do not need to be interacted with, just like you're used to in Elden Ring. Monster parts and skins are looted and need to be farmed by slaying foes. Punching an animal is enough to rip off their skin. For now there are only 3 rare items known to us obtained by harvesting. Ancient Breath, a rare herb used to upgrade your potions. Fiend Rose, another herb found only during the Helltide event. This one is also used for upgrading potions. And Forgotten Souls, which can be mined from erupting ore veins during the Helltide event, and those are used to upgrade your sacred and ancestral items as well as potions. Salvaging gear and nightmare sigils will also provide you with materials that are used for upgrading and altering your rare and legendary gear. All those items you gather are used at the Artisans to craft stuff. I'll briefly go over them, starting with the Alchemist. The Alchemist can upgrade your health potions by a flat amount, brew elixirs to buff you for 30 minutes, or refine resources you harvest. All elixirs will boost your experience gain and have some additional benefits like increased resistances, increased attack speed or increased penetration. This NPC will also be able to craft incense, but there is no further information on what this one will do as of the time of recording this video. The blacksmith will hook you up with crafting crafting armor and weapons as indicated by the achievement board. Salvaging stuff and repairing is also done at this NPC, but you can also upgrade your gear. The max upgrade level depends on the rarity of the item and will cost materials and gold. This process doesn't seem to have a fail chance. Upgrading will increase the armor and weapon damage of your items, which directly scales how much damage you receive and dish out. The jeweler can add sockets as long as you have a scattered prism. He can also unsocket socketed gems, craft gems and jewelry, and upgrade the same as long as you have the materials and gold for it. The last one is the Occultist. This one is a bit different than the others in that he can extract aspects, which are legendary affixes on items, and turn them into legendary essences that can further be imprinted onto other rare or legendary items to turn them into legendary pieces of gear. The new special affix will be added to the rare item and override old legendary affixes, as well as lock the item from being imprinted again. Now, legendary essences are one-time use and need to be obtained again. Codex of Power aspects, which are obtained through completing dungeons for the first time, are unlimited in their use. There is, however, a potential drawback to this based on the sacred and ancestral legendaries. Those are supposed to roll with the same affixes, just at higher potencies. But as far as I could gather, they are treated as individual aspects and you will need to find a sacred or ancestral version of them, meaning there are 3 tiers of the same legendary aspect. This NPC can also enchant items similar to Diablo III's Mystic and replace unwanted affixes on a rare or legendary item with a new one. This will cost materials and gold. The last feature of this NPC is the ability to salvage and craft sigils. Nightmare sigils are used to transform dungeons into more challenging nightmare dungeons. Each nightmare sigil corresponds to a specific dungeon. The difficulty tiers are tied to the nightmare sigils, which also determine the rarity of item drops. And visual progression is also something I want to mention here since it's tied to items you find. New appearances can be unlocked by salvaging an item, purchasing cosmetics at vendors, and can be bought in the in-game shop or obtained through the season pass. The wardrobe can be found and accessed in major towns next to your stash. Your gear can also be customized with dice. Now this sums up all there is to know about itemization and crafting in Diablo 4. I will be checking out all the classes next, however, only after I get to test them during the beta. There are just too many speculative videos out there and I want to provide you with truthful information. If you like this type of content, make sure to sub, like and comment for more reviews, previews and guides. Also check out my Patreon, PayPal and channel membership if you want to support me some more. See you next time and bye!